Never forget, the Democrat Party is the party of slavery, segregation, eugenics, Jim Crow. Now they're the party of Marxism, Islamism, and anti-constitutionalism. That's a fact.
And it was Woodrow Wilson who did what? He resegregated the military when he became president.
God bless you all. Our time is up. Be well.
We love you, CPAC.
And thank you, President Trump.
In a time when the very fabric of our nation seemed under siege, one organization was willing to fight for America's principles and defend our children's future.
Joining me now, Terry Schilling, president of the American Principles Project.
This is what happens when tolerance goes too far.
It's a bit shocking to hear Democrats talk about them losing the culture war. After all, they started it.
You're denying reality, you're denying them the care that they need.
The only homicide on January 6th was the unlawful shooting death of Ashley Babbitt. This major new lawsuit that Judicial Watch filed, a $30 million wrongful death lawsuit against the United States government. She was unarmed. There were no weapons visible. She was shot in the shoulder and killed by Lieutenant Byrd. He popped out and shot her dead. Ashley was shot in cold blood, and the rule of law requires justice for her.
Every institution today is under attack. The home, the church, the government. And many people are asking, what is the truth? Jesus Christ claimed to be ultimate truth. Are you willing to face the truth?
Do you think the MKUltra project ever actually ended?
The Central Intelligence Agency is actively involved in mind manipulation.
We all answer to one God and one Savior, and He's there to change your life for the better.
All right, America is back on track 2025, but next year, CPAC 2026 is going to be even bigger. Go get your tickets now. Go to cpac.org and join the movement.
As I think it was President Reagan said, we're from the government. We're here to help.
I think you all know that I've always felt the 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
We're from the government. We're here to help.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
President Trump is back in the White House. Donald Trump won the presidency. Donald Trump has taken back America.
I actually started quite a while ago in CPAC, and I enjoyed it so much that I came back for a second one, then a third, then I said, what the hell, let's run for president. Matt said, it's like 5 years ago, 6 years ago. He says, you should run for politics. He's the one who said, you should run for the presidency of the United States.
It is my honor to introduce to CPAC 2017 our president, Donald Trump.
First of all, I want to thank Matt Schlapp and his very, very incredible wife and boss, Mercedes, who have been fantastic friends and supporters, and so great when I watch them on television defending me. Nobody has a chance. I love this place. Love you people. You never stop fighting for America, and I will never, ever stop fighting for you. We know that there are still more records to be shattered, new summits to be scaled, more triumphs to be realized, and more amazing history just waiting to be written. The American adventure has only just begun. God bless America, and we will see you next year. Thank you very much. You never stop fighting for America, and I will never, ever stop fighting for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome host of the PBD podcast, Patrick Bet-David.
All right.
How you doing? How you feeling? Good? Okay. I got the lunchtime slot, which means some of you are either eating or wanting to go eat, but I do have a message for you. How you doing? Yes, it's great to be with you. How many of you here watch or listen to the PBD podcast? I'm curious. Okay, it's a good amount. All right, so I got a simple message for you with the limited time that I have here for you. First of all, it's an honor to be here at CPAC. This is my first time being here. Just had a chance to speak with Matt and Mercedes, incredible people. It's incredible to be around you, especially the fact that the person you wanted to win won in 2024, which is a very big deal. I got a question for you. Can you think about the two things tyrants fear? Let me ask the question one more time. What would you say are the two things tyrants running a country fear? What are the two things? First thing they fear is you and I having guns to protect ourselves. The second thing they fear is you and I having a megaphone to express ourselves. Now, I want you to think about this. In the last 3 weeks, I've interviewed two different people. One of the ones I had on the podcast 3 weeks ago, he flew in the entire time he was nervous. He was a former founder of the IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. He started the IRGC with Khomeini in 1979. 3 months after I was born, I was living in Iran, and I brought him on the podcast. For many years, we've been wanting to have this man to come on the podcast, but obviously he doesn't want to come because directly and indirectly, millions of people died because of this man. If you go on Google, you type in founder of IRGC, you'll see his name and Khomeini's name. I bring him on. It's a little uncomfortable. I say, so let me ask you a question. When you guys took over the revolution, the Shah is gone. That's the last time the Middle East was at peace. No issues. Iran gets along with Israel. No wars. Things are good. Then you come over. You take over Iran. Khomeini flies in. You fly in. What is the first thing you guys did? He says, our #1 mission was to get all the guns out of people's hands. And I said, tell me why. He says, because we wanted to be safe. I said, safe from what? Well, we had to be careful because there was a lot of criminals who had a lot of guns. I said, citizens having guns are criminals. They're trying to protect themselves. So again, what do tyrants fear? First thing is what? Your guns, because you can protect yourself. 2 days ago, I got back from Brazil. We're flying out to Brazil to do a 3-hour interview with former President Jair Bolsonaro. How many of you guys love President Bolsonaro? So we're in Brazil. While we're about to go, they are briefing us on what to be prepared for before we go to Brazil. They say, #1, have an international lawyer ready in case something happens. #2, make sure you have an armored truck. #3, come with a good delegation. We went with 9 of us. And then we'll be escorting you all over the place. So we go and we experience everything, and then eventually the president comes. And the president sits there, and we start conducting the interview. One of the most emotional interviews I've ever done. This man is crying, tears dropping on the table. I can't wait for the interview to come out this Wednesday. And I hear him speaking. About 15 minutes left for the interview to be done. Somebody comes in and is whispering in his ear. Boom. He swipes the hand. Interview ends, doing all the stuff that he's doing. He gets out. 1 hour later, alert on the phone. Jair Bolsonaro has been charged and is facing 38 years in prison. For what? There's a judge there in Brazil. His name is Alexandre de Moraes. Anybody knows who he is? Okay. If there is a picture for someone that looks like a tyrant, it is Alexandre de Moraes. This man is a tyrant at the highest level. And he is the second man, the second point that tyrants fear is freedom of speech. I'm talking to the former president. He's not comfortable talking about certain things, but he let everything loose. He knows you can't talk. They don't want you to talk over there. So you got guns, freedom of speech, and in the world, we have 195 countries, of which 193 have constitutions. Of the 193 that have constitutions, Only one country gives you full-on freedom of speech with nothing about hate speech and Second Amendment. We're the only ones here that we have in America. Now, keep this in mind. Sometimes when we sit there, we hear about, next year's going to be United States birthday for 250 years. It's going to be amazing. We are one of the youngest countries in the world. It's awesome. Well, think about the oldest countries in the world. Iran, roughly 3300 BC. Egypt, 3100 BC. You got Assyria, you got Armenia, you got China, you got all these countries, right? Oldest. We are one of the youngest. But watch this here. Does anybody know what country has the oldest constitution in the world? What country has the oldest constitution in the world, including UK? We, the people, have the oldest constitution in the world. So now watch this. Some of you are clapping. You're like, I don't know what point he's trying to make here. I don't know where you're going with this. Let me give you some numbers here. Dominican Republic has changed their constitution 32 times. Venezuela 26 times. Haiti 24. Ecuador 20. Brazil's changed it 7 times in the last 100 years. While I'm there in Brazil, we're going to the airport. Our flight's at 4:30. We get there at 2 o'clock waiting. Our flight gets canceled. We have to redirect our flight. We go to Peru, and then from Peru we fly out to Miami. And I'll never forget when we landed in Miami. It reminded me of back in July 15th of '89 when we're escaping Iran on a Lufthansa flight. And while we're going, everybody's waiting for the one magical word from the flight attendant. Anybody knows what it is? It's very simple. You can officially order alcohol. We've crossed the border. And we're like, we're free. This is amazing. We are officially out of Iran, right? So we land in Miami. I'm like, oh my God, this kind of takes me back to that moment when we left, Iran and experiencing what freedom's like. Then we get down here. And I'm sitting and I'm talking to all these different senators and congressmen in Brazil. And here's a number I noticed. I want to kind of take it back because it's very important for us to be thinking about. In Brazil, they have 11 Supreme Court justices, of which only 2 are conservative. In Brazil, they have 81 senators, of which only 22 are conservatives. In Brazil, they have 513 congressmen and women, of which only 130 are conservatives. Let me just kind of take back a little bit and talk to you guys about maybe possibly the greatest accomplishment any president's ever done. If the Supreme Court justice was the other way around, 6-3, and when they said Colorado wants to remove the president off the ballot, and they would have succeeded, Kamala Harris would have today. I understand. I'm with you. But I want you to think about why this is so important. For 25 years of my life, I was an atheist. When you live in Iran, my mother's Armenian, her last name's Bogosian, my dad's Assyrian, Bet David. I'm living in Iran. We're a Christian family trying to make it work. We're going to school, you're going to church, kind of keep it quiet. And you dream about one day coming here. You're like, oh my God, I can't wait to one day come to America. It's going to be such a great deal to come to America. I'm sitting there kind of thinking to myself about all this stuff with Iran. And hey, the Congress, the Senate, all this stuff. You bring it to today. This man flips 3 Supreme Court justices. He doesn't do that. Kamala gets in. They would have done everything in their power they could have to prevent the president from speaking. They try to silence him. They took him all the social media sites. There's a lot of people that want to be friends with him today. Same people that silenced him. They said, you can't use social media. Got off. Then you go from there, you dream about coming to America, and you sit there, you think about it, you say, oh my God, I cannot even believe the fact that I'm living in a country like this where you and I, as an atheist, you're like, maybe God this, I don't know about this, people are dying in Iran, I'm in a refugee camp in Germany for a year and a half, you come to the States, I'm a regular guy going to school, then all of a sudden I join the Army, I go to the 101st Airborne Division Air Assault, I'm in the Army, I'm in my uniform, quite honestly, I joined at first for GI Bill, and I'm standing there waiting. We're at a Labor Day, a Memorial Day, and I see one of my chief warrant officers on this side in tears. I see another colonel over here in tears. I see a sergeant first class on this side in tears. I'm like, why are these guys crying? Why are they crying? And then we go into the auditorium. They say, there's a movie coming out about your unit. You guys are going to get a chance to watch it before the world sees it. What's the movie? Saving Private Ryan. I watched this movie at the end. I'm like, I am so proud to be an American. I am so proud to be part of the 101st Airborne Division. I am so proud to be living here. So I watched. While I'm in the Army, Because of my PT score, I was able to go hang out at this one camp for 2 days where we could play pool, jump in a lake, and all this stuff. This man hands me a Bible. I'm like, sir, I'm the wrong guy to give you a Bible. He says, my parents gifted me this Bible December 24th of 1974. I think you need it more than I do. I said, I'm telling you, it's not, you don't want to give it to me. I'm the wrong guy. He gives it to me. I start praying 3 times a day. Long story short, 25 years old, life changes, God's in my life. Everything from there has been revolutionary. It doesn't even make sense to me. It's a miracle. Here's what it made me think about. Here's what it made me think about. How many of you remember the last time you had one of those nights where you pray for an hour and you're on your knees and nobody sees you? Who knows what I'm talking about? Anybody's ever done that before? By the way, for some of you that are devout Christians, maybe it's a normal Tuesday for you, but for those of you guys that just kind of go to church once in a while, you've only done that 3 or 4 or 5 times in your life. Does anybody relate where you don't do that often? What were you praying about in June of 2024? What were you praying about when you're sitting there? What were we thinking about? What was going on? What were the issues? Everything we're watching, what's going to be taking place? And then you mean to tell me the president is a one look away from this being assassinated, and he lives, and all these miracles happen. President Obama in 8 years flips 1 seat. Trump flips 3 seats in 1 term. You don't think God's hands on America again? By the way, the reason why I'm sharing this with you is sometimes when we start winning and we start making money and we start driving the nice cars and our candidate wins and we're like, yay, it's great and it's awesome, our paranoia goes away. Let me just prepare you for something. We got to stay paranoid. We got to stay optimistic. They're plotting their moves behind closed doors while you and I are here at this event. We got to keep recruiting the next Bobby Kennedys, the next Tulsi Gabbers, the next Elon Musk, the next Joe Rogans, the next anybody. We got to recruit them over with common sense, with values, with the way we treat them. And if we do that, the future of America will look bright like never before. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Good afternoon, CPAC. So great to be with you. We are gathered here today at a historic time, and in a few hours you're going to have an opportunity to hear from a very historic president. Here's a name you probably haven't heard of, Buddy Melgus, Olympic gold medal sailor from Zenda, Wisconsin, grew up on a small, teeny little lake in Wisconsin. How did a kid from a small little lake in Wisconsin go on to become an Olympic sailor? He became an Olympic gold medal sailor because he understood you never have to recover from a great start. So I've got a few questions for you. In our entire U.S. history, which president has been off to the greatest start in history? Yes, okay, I can ask that a different way. Which president in American history has had the most impact in their first 33 days? Trump. And of course, we know the answer to this one. Which president right now, every hour, every day, is making America great again? There you go. I want to say thank you all for being here. This is such an important group. You are the difference makers. CPAC was the group that believed in President Trump when others didn't. You stayed with him. You worked so hard for all these years, and you were working because you supported President Trump, but you were working because you cared deeply about America. You wanted America to be better. You knew that America could reach its full potential, And now that is happening every single day, and it started here with you. Thank you, CPAC, for everything that you've done. Yes, President Trump has got a very clear and a very powerful vision on ways to make America great again, and at the center of that is energy dominance. He knows that energy dominance, when the U.S. is energy dominance, it's going to bring down inflation because energy is a component of every single product that we buy, every piece of food you eat, every vehicle you drive. He also knows that when we have energy to sell to our friends and allies, it's going to end our trade deficits. He knows it's going to create great American jobs. And he also knows that when we have energy to sell to our allies, it's going to end the wars abroad, and he is someone who wants to stop the killing. He wants to end wars. And President Trump, I believe, for that work, is going to win the Nobel Peace Prize. And this is a group that can help that happen for him. Yes, President Trump knows better than anyone that energy dominance is the foundation for American prosperity, for affordability and world peace. The Biden administration, wow, what a mess that we've inherited. The Biden administration, at the core of everything they're doing, were beholden to a group of climate extremists. And when those climate extremists got the Biden administration to declare war on U.S. energy, and when they declared war on U.S. energy, it didn't reduce demand. It just shifted the supply to our adversaries across the world, to places like Iran. Iran, who sold hundreds of billions of dollars of energy through ghost ships and front companies to fund 24 terror groups against us. But President Trump wants that to stop. And he's got full maximum pressure against Iran, and he'll do what he did in his first term, which is financially he'll bring that country, or the Ayatollahs, not the country, but the Ayatollahs to their knees. But back home, the climate extremists that wanted it to shut down U.S. energy, what did they do to Americans? They raised the price of everything. Electricity prices 30% higher under the Biden administration. Some of you, if you live in the Northeast, you're going to be staring at 15 to 17 to 20% increases again this summer. This is all what we've inherited. And when we have high energy costs, that hurts our economy and we deindustrialize. And that's why President Trump on day one declared a national energy emergency. It wasn't just about price at the pump. He understood the mess that Biden left us, and that's why he declared that energy emergency. And part of that solution, last Friday, he created the National Energy Dominance Council. He asked me to chair it. He asked Chris Wright to be the vice chair. And with that, with the work that we're going to be doing, it covers everything. It covers electricity, it covers oil and gas, it covers biofuels, it covers export, it covers exploration, all the things that we need to do to have our country become an energy powerhouse. But let's just talk a little bit about one of the things that were left, and that's the energy emergency, and that is our electrical grid in this country is absolutely in danger. The climate extremists worshiped an ideology that defied physics, economics, and common sense. They believed that that was the existential threat. I will tell you that there's two existential threats that this administration believes in. One was existential threat was Iran getting a nuclear weapon. That would change the world, and this administration, working with our allies, is going to make sure that doesn't happen. And the second existential threat is losing the artificial intelligence arms race to China. This country has shut down more electricity than China has opened in the last 12 months. And we need electricity because electricity drives AI data centers, and AI data centers manufacture intelligence. And when we manufacture intelligence, it's going to change every job, every company, every industry. It's going to make the federal government more productive. But no, what did the Biden administration do? They focused on highly subsidized, unreliable, unaffordable, and weather-dependent sources of energy. We all know, you don't have to have a PhD to know that the sun doesn't shine 24 hours a day and the wind doesn't blow 365 days a year. And yet the Biden administration was trying to convince Americans that we could run a full-time society on part-time, intermittent, and expensive power. They pushed a Green New Deal that was a lot more like a Green New Steel because it was stealing your taxpayer dollars at the same time, raising the price of electricity for all of you, raising the price of food in this country, and jeopardizing our grid. We have today, for the first time, I was in tech for 30 years before I ever ran for office. We never used more than 1% of the nation's electricity in the whole technology sector. But now with AI coming, the demand is increasing, and that's real demand with real value, not artificial demand where we say we're going to stop driving internal combustion vehicles in favor of an EV. We're going to subsidize those EVs at 15 times anything we've ever done before, and then we're going to buy our batteries from China, who control 85% of the rare earth minerals. The whole plan was crazy. But what do we have right now under President Trump? President Trump knows that we weren't in some kind of mythical energy transition. He knows that we've got to have energy addition. He also knows, because if anybody has studied Energy 101, you'd know that any quote, transition would fail because only one time in all of human history, only one time in human history have humans ever transitioned off a source of energy. It was in the 1880s. Anybody know what that was in the 1800s when we transitioned off energy? Whale oil. I heard somebody knew the answer. Yes, we transitioned off of whale oil. Whale oil became very popular because it was cleaner, but then along comes oil, and oil we could refine into kerosene, and kerosene was better than whale oil. And so who knew, but you're hearing it here at CPAC, that it was over 150 years ago, fossil fuels saved the whales. And I think we've got some T-shirt merch experts here in this room, and I just think that could make a great slogan on a T-shirt, by the way. But President Trump's got a plan for energy dominance that's going to help drive us forward. All of you know that we've got $36.5 trillion of debt because we hear it over and over again. But has anybody ever come on this stage and told you how much America's assets are? No, because nobody knows what they are. And the Biden administration is playing hide the ball. But in the Trump administration, we're going to build that balance sheet. And we have trillions and trillions of dollars worth of natural resources. And we're going to make sure that we understand that our assets far exceed the debt that we have. But before Joe Biden left office, one of the things that he did was he took 625 million acres of offshore potential, trillions of dollars of revenue potential for you, your kids, and your grandkids, and with a stroke of a pen said, we're never going to develop that. Never. It's off the table. I got it. You can boo for that if you want to, but that's literally 1/3 of the lower 48 here. He was trying to rob us of that. But he's robbing us of those revenues and also of the American dream. But President Trump got into office, and with an executive order, he reversed that ban. That 625 million acres is back on our balance sheet, including some of those acres are where? They're in the Gulf of America. One of the other falsehoods is that somehow that those climate extremists cared more about the environment than any of us in this room. And I know how deeply this group cares, and I know the people in my home state, the farmers and ranchers, 4th and 5th generation, they live on the land, they care about the soil health, they care about the water, they care about the air, and that's why in North Dakota we had some of the cleanest air and water in the country, and we were an energy powerhouse. We can do both of these things in our country, because when you shut down U.S. energy and you push that supply overseas, you push it to places that use child labor, that don't do reclamation, they don't have any kind of regulatory environment like we have. And so it's cleaner. If you care about the environment, you want every drop of energy, every electron to be produced in the United States. That's the way to save the planet. And the Biden administration, they sanctioned Alaska 68 times with executive orders. 68 times Joe Biden issued orders that tried to shut down energy development in Alaska. They sanctioned Alaska more than they did Iran, if you can believe it. But those days are over. One of the other executive orders that President Trump signed is one not just unleashing American energy, but unleashing Alaska's potential. And when we do that, we have an opportunity to sell energy to Japan, South Korea, the Philippines, our allies in the Pacific, who we need more than ever because of the growing threat of China. So let me ask you, as we close out here today, when we talk about being energy dominant, we know that one thing that President likes to say, and I'm sure you'll hear it to say, which he wants us to drill, baby, drill, and we're going to do that. But the U.S. Geologic Survey, which is part of Interior, we've got a job to actually go out and map those resources to find out how many trillions or hundreds of trillions of dollars of assets belong to all of you, the public. So we're going to map, baby, map, and then we're also going to mine, baby, mine. We're going to mine, baby, mine, because we've got to get critical minerals developed back in our country. We can't be dependent. We're buying uranium from Russia for our nuclear plants. We have to be able to have those supply chains be right here. So we're going to do all of that. And when we do all of that, we're going to be able to build, baby, build. President Trump is the greatest economic developer that's ever existed. Nobody sells America better than he does. Chris Wright, my partner in this for the Department of Energy, he and I were asked by President Trump to join him when he was meeting with the Prime Minister of India and the Prime Minister of Japan. In those meetings, President Trump said to those leaders, you've got a deficit, a trade deficit with our country. We think you should solve that. What would you like to buy from us? Perhaps some energy? 30 years ago, he wrote the international bestseller, The Art of the Deal, President Trump did. I've seen him in action. Right now, every day, he's writing the sequel to that of The Art of the Deal in real time. Yes, he is, but he's dealing with the world leaders. They're coming to him, and they want to buy American, and we want to build American. And we know that President Trump is not only making America strong again, he's going to make America affordable again. He's helping with your help. He's fighting for the agenda, and you know what he's going to do? He's going to make America great again. Thank you, CPAC.
I did.
I switched, and it made all the difference. It made all the difference.
Have you made the switch? You should.
Millions are switching to Newsmax. You should too.
America is under attack. Our families are being crushed under the politics of a radical agenda. But moms have had enough. We are standing up and we are fighting back.
This is our battle. This battle is every bit as important as the Revolutionary War because we fight for the same thing.
Moms for America is a national movement of moms reclaiming our culture for truth, family, freedom, and the Constitution.
I think Moms for America is exactly on track and is doing the right thing for the future of our country and our children.
Like, Moms for America is going at the heart of the issue.
I want to go on the record and say I'm for moms, I'm for America, and I'm especially for Moms for America.
But I am honored to join Moms for America today as we speak out against the horrific mandates.
With a national network of over 500,000 mothers, Moms for America is one of the fastest growing movements of women in the country.
The most dangerous place in all of nature is between a mama bear and her baby cub.
We are the change. No matter what, no matter where, and no matter how difficult the obstacles are that are facing us and our families, we will not give up.